Welcome to Kolorflow Conversations, where we flow freely, speak boldly, and connect colorfully. I am Uakeisha, and this is.
Tikisha.
Were you still praying?
I
I know.
was
I
not.
know. I just started talking.
No, I was not. I was good.
All right. Welcome, welcome. How you doing today, friend?
I'm doing good.
Listen, we are glad to be here. We still kind of on a high from our last episode, I think, with our special guest, Daisha Bowers. Every week we learn something. And last week was no different. It was very encouraging, very touching. And I'm glad that she agreed to come and share her story.
I am glad too. I am glad that it was all on one accord because I learned a lot from her story, just reflecting in my life, thinking about my mother and the struggles that we all go through as women.
Yeah.
And we go through those struggles sometimes in secret.
Yes. Yes.
And even
Yeah.
though, like, it's the I have cancer,
It
and
was
listening
more.
to her, you could see the struggles that she was
Yeah.
going through behind the scenes outside
Yeah.
of just her diagnosis.
And some of the struggles we can see visually with each other, but we can't see the inside struggles.
Yes.
And
I couldn't
yeah.
see the transition from my mother wearing her hair, getting braids like me, to losing her hair, to then her hair thinning and her wearing weaves, and then it thinning so much to where she couldn't wear weaves. She had to wear a wig.
Yeah.
And then how the wigs became a more popular trend.
Yeah.
Like, as they got better, I could only imagine how sassy she would have been. But I also know that her struggles behind that, of not just having her hair, and always wanted to make sure that the wig was
in place.
So that shared a lot to me. And, it's one of those moments where I know I can't go back in time and say, like, oh, I get it now. But I feel like I still have those moments when I sit here and disclose my truth and what I learned for me to grow, to be better and compassionate to others, because some people wear their sickness, some people don't. But even outside of, I'm not lessening cancer by any means, but some of us, or maybe all of us, are all diseased in certain areas.
Yeah.
So it's not that we're walking around with it. I'm not walking around the disease of grief like I was before. But right here in this moment, I am still grieving that I can't tell my mother, oh,
you understand.
I understand now.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna say this quickly about your mother. I imagine your mother would wear a 30-inch bust down.
Oh, for sure. Right, for sure. Yes. And I'm glad I know what bust down is, because I previously remember having to ask, because I'm like, bust down.
Your mama was that girl.
Yes.
She definitely would have.
Yes.
Well, this is what I learned, not just in that episode last week, but about myself, was my friend shared something about me that I didn't even know. We talked about it very briefly in the episode, and this is why it's important to have good relationship with friends, and not in a place where you're going to get upset when they tell you something about yourself that may not be positive.
And let me give you a backstory that we've never talked about, but now is perfect timing for this, because sometimes God reveals things to us and they say that delay is not denial. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
We really can put that in any type of situation.
Yeah.
So, as you know, my mother's been gone for 7 years. One night we went to Floods, and I pulled out her obituary, and you laughed. But it was from a place of being uncomfortable, not knowing, and most definitely not empathetic.
I remember that night. I don't remember it being the obituary though. Oh, yes, I do. Because I was like, you carry that around? Yes, I remember that. I did. I remember that.
That broke my heart.
I didn't know that.
And I've never said anything to you about it. Have I discussed it? Yes. But I never said anything to you about it because what I also know is that sometimes my relationship with someone is more important than my words. I didn't know if I were to have the conversation, if you were going to receive it in a way that would be helpful for the both of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. I just dealt with that on the inside.
Yeah.
But here we are 7 years later,
yes,
where I can have that and you can understand now about what being empathetic means, because a lot of people think that they're empathetic.
Yes.
But I feel like for me, the highest or amongst the highest level of empathy is putting yourself in that person's shoes instantly. You know, we talked about the mirror. I told you I wrote about it, and I'm really big on the mirror, seeing where I'm at, seeing where I've been, and seeing what's in front of me and the people that I'm around. Because what I learned from judging you from not being empathetic, I learned that I was too empathetic. But empathy, I believe, is a part of my gift. So I just have to learn to control it, because there are certain situations where, yeah, you need to be empathetic, but there's certain situations where you don't. And that's something that right now you're learning and processing. So it's always just a balance with a lot of things in life. But it took 7 years for us to have a full circle moment of that night.
And even when she told me that I was not an empathetic person, I was like, I didn't argue like, yes, I am. Yes, I was just like, huh? And I started to search myself. Now you're right. Like that night, I probably would not have been in the space to do that. And I apologize to you.
And I accept your apology. Thank you. I wasn't even looking for no apology.
No, but
because it was just, and that's something else, how sometimes you heal through things.
Yeah.
Perfect example. I healed through that where I wasn't looking for an apology. And I actually honestly knew I had healed through it because I hadn't forgot about it.
But I remember
it came up now. Perfect timing.
But I didn't even think that was a situation that you were talking about. But I remember that night, and I did laugh out of like uncomfortable, because when you were going through your grief, my mother had not passed yet. So at times when people lose somebody, especially their mother, you don't know what to say or do. And sometimes you say or do the wrong thing. And even in my trying to make a funny moment, it still was not the right thing. So, and I talk about that a lot. Like you taught me pretty much about how to handle grief with our mothers and with other people. So now I know. Now I'm not as uncomfortable because I'm in them shoes now. I know what I would have felt if somebody had did it to me. So I was learning at that time, and not even knowing I was learning, but I was like, I'm trying to take my friend out. We trying to go out and have a good time and just, I don't know. I don't want to use the word forget our issues or
like
problems.
Kind of just have a night where it's the escaping the reality.
Escaping the reality. And then you pulled it out, and I was like, girl, you carry that around. And I'm not empathetic. I've learned it. And now, in the weeks that she told me,
she's been too empathetic. It's like, it's not even empathetic. I was just like, I think what you're doing now is basic manners. Like, it's not I'm sorry. Like, why? Girl, did you just text me I'm sorry? Like, I didn't mean to, like, I know my brain works differently. I know it's going to take me some time to process it. So you don't have to apologize for your joke about my brain.
Wait a minute. I was like, I said, your brain is terrible. Did I say your brain or your memory is terrible?
You said brain.
I said your brain is terrible. And then I thought about it probably like a half hour later, like,
I hadn't even, because you know I don't have any notifications on my phone, so I hadn't even got to it yet to see it. I'm reading the text beforehand,
God.
You didn't even need to apologize for that. It's so much like that. They're like, please, could you come here, please?
But that's the lesson in this, though. When someone tells you something about yourself, you can discern if they're coming from a place of love.
Yes.
I knew that my friend was coming from a place of love because when she told me about the situation, it wasn't even about a situation with her. It was about a situation about something else. And she just basically was like, you're not empathetic. And I was like, what? I started thinking about it like, well, I don't want to not be empathetic because that's a word I would use to describe myself. But when she said it, you search yourself. You search situations and you feel and you do things that's going to make you better. And that's where we were. And I was like, wow. So now I just notice it more. And I do confuse empathy with manners.
Yes. Yes. I had to tell her it's like developing compassion for certain things that you may not have necessarily been compassionate about.
Let me say this though. Let me say this about myself. I noticed that I am not as empathetic to people close to me.
Yes.
When it comes to strangers or people I don't know, I'm empathetic. And I've realized that. People close to me, I look at them like, God gonna work it out. God gonna work it out, or get over it, or just because they're I know them. So I'm not as empathetic to the people that I know that's close to me. And not even that I know, I'll say in my closest circle. I may be more empathetic to clients and things like that, but I think when it comes to people that I'm closest to in my closest circle, I'm not as empathetic. And that is the part that I'm working on.
I can see that though, especially with your clients and stuff, because it's a service industry.
Yeah.
So it's easier. It comes natural in those moments. But the people closest to you, you really have higher expectations of us than what we have for ourselves in those moments.
And I know.
So while you're looking at the finish line, we still at start.
Yeah.
You see, in my role, like I'm on the side trying to be the coach, trying to tell you what to do to get you going, but you already at the finish line handing them their medal.
Yeah, I see, like, for me personally, like if you are telling me you're going through, like I use you as an example. If you're telling me you're going through something and you're giving me the scenario and I'm sitting there listening, my thing with her would be, well, you already know God gonna work it out. So why are you
like, why is this even a conversation?
I am like, when has there ever been a time he has not worked it out? That's where my mind is when human fleshly still needs you to be like, girl.
Yes, because my mind is, I know that he's going to work it out, but I have trust issues. So I need to talk about this because I need to, and this is real talk right now. I'm not even just saying this so you can see how I go. So now I can process things that I can talk to God and incorporate some signs so I can know that I'm on the right path and things are shifting.
Yeah.
So I listen to the things that you're saying. And when you have discernment in the situation and you give me the feedback, I'm listening to it and I'm just like, oh, okay, so you already told me this is a reflection of me. So now I'm realizing that certain things that I'm doing are being seen. Certain things that I'm said is being heard because I picked that up from you, because in this particular area, I was drawing a blank. I was pulling straws. But while I'm going through this and then, I get stabbed, I kind of want you to help me. Even though I know all I'm going to do is pull the knife back out and stab the person that stabbed me and keep going. It's just like, I still got the wound. So I want you to help me with the wound, where you just like, you done already pulled the knife out. I was like, what's next? What time are we recording? And it's just like, hello, my brain got 8,000 things from this one incident. Can you at least help me with one?
I'm working on it.
You are.
I'm
And
working on
I
it.
am like,
I'm working on it. And that's why you should really have good friends. If you don't have a friend that can tell you or you tell them or y'all even talk about it, then you need to have some friends where you can have that. Because when I am told something by, and it ain't everybody, because I ain't listening to everybody,
right.
but a person I know really sincerely love me, care for my well-being, care for my relationship with God. When somebody's like that in your life, then you can discern if they're coming from a place of sincerity and love. They're probably telling you the truth about whatever they feel. So I'll be open to it because I want to be right, and I don't have no issue with that. And I immediately, even with anything, I immediately start to work on something now.
Yeah, I can say like that day because we had the conversation and we were together for quite a bit that day.
Yeah.
And you immediately found yourself in a position to work on it.
Yeah.
You missed the first little set, but by that second time,
I
don't think the first time, I don't think you realized that was an opportunity.
Yeah.
But that second time you caught it and you was on it and you really have been. So that's another thing that I feel like, I commend you on. And I believe us as a people, we need to do that more often when we realize there's something to stand in it and be corrected. And like I said, in every situation, you can realize a fault. I realized mine in this one where it was just like everybody don't deserve that. And I'm going to use deserve because everybody don't deserve my gift.
Nah. Right.
Sometimes I don't deserve my gift. I don't deserve seeing the unicorns and rainbows if all you're going to give me is the knife with the blood on it.
That's right. Yeah. Everybody, and you know where to use. I was going to put the gift. Use it. Where to let it blossom. You know where to, everybody don't deserve it.
Mm-mm.
Everybody don't. And, once you realize that, you know where to place people, persons, and things.
Yes.
Yes. And I don't think that, like you said, it was 7 years ago when that, and I'm sure it's probably been before that I probably wasn't empathetic on something, but that one stood out, and I remember that. So when somebody tell you something that love you, pray and ask God to give you the wisdom to figure out how to change that about you. And don't be afraid to apologize to people.
Yeah, it's nothing like people like that. I'm sorry. I apologize. I ain't even too big on the words because, like I said, I wasn't even expecting you to do that. But thank you. But it's just like a change behavior for me is the apology, and here we are. You change your behavior instantly. So I know if I'm placed in a situation where I feel like I need to be coddled a little bit more, you might do it a little bit more because I still feel like it's a transition.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're talking to someone and you know that they know.
Yeah.
It's harder when you know that they know.
Yeah. I can't say that overnight because like I said, this is more with people that are closer to me. I can't say overnight that I won't still feel like, God gonna work it out. Why are we talking? I can't say that I won't have those same moments because that's how I always feel like my faith is so big and I don't have the trust issues maybe that somebody else may have. I just be believing like he gonna work it out. Period. So why are we, and I can't say it's going to be overnight, but because I know now I can make the changes.
So you said something that made me think about something, but also made me want to go back to the week before when we talked about the gorilla. because this has been really heavy on me. And I told you I was feeling convicted because I don't want to feel like I'm coming from a place of judging when I'm literally sitting talking about someone else or an organization and what they're doing, because
Yeah.
it's not like how I like or how I perceive or understand things. So I never want to do that. And I feel like certain things I said on there or didn't say, because silence is agreement, that made me feel like I was coming from a place that I knew better, and not knew better like I'm doing better because I know better, but knew better like
Than other people.
better than someone else, like I'm a higher up.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put that out there, and I just wanted to say that going forward, I want to try to always stick to using my own personal story and coming from a place where I'm just open-minded, because I don't put myself in a box. And when I say that, like, I don't know if we've ever talked about what spirituality means to us individually, because I don't know if being spiritual to you is the same as being spiritual to me.
I would say we we have never talked about we've never talked about it, but I believe that there are some differences and some are the same. But I also think that the differences are because of the foundation we both have had. Even the conversation we had this week, when what was we talking about? Oh, when I said to you, and what y'all need to know is,
because I'm like, what you about to say?
Me and her conversations are always, we ain't never like really like, we be talking about God and stuff like throughout the day. It's literally Bible, it just be whatever. So I mentioned winning souls. And I can't remember what we were saying, but I was talking about winning souls to Christ. And you were like, I think that sound like ego when it sound like I'm going to get a prize or something if I use the word winning souls. And I was like, well, I look at it this way, and I won't go into the whole thing, but people have different thought processes when it comes to spirituality based on their foundation, I believe.
Before we keep going on that, I want to say, like, that is the perfect example to put out there when you are learning the people that you're around. And I'm going to put this even like employer employee.
Yeah.
Because all employees, even though they're all doing the same job, their brain doesn't process it and work it the same.
Yeah.
So that's really a good example of that, because when you explained it and based on your foundation, I'm like, oh, I can see that. But I'm looking at it, from a more literal, from the word winning, and is it me? I want to give the glory to God. Like, I made it into a whole lot bigger than what it was. But
she said that she looked at it like, I'm giving myself the glory, not me personally, but like if you're saying I'm winning a soul, you're giving yourself the glory and it's not coming from God. Whereas I feel like if I bring a soul, we both winning together. And I just showed the difference of how people think spiritually.
Yes.
And that don't mean that
or not even spiritually, just period.
Yeah. Like, I know spirituality means something different for both of us, even though we both have the same goal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The goal is the same. But the difference is we as humans, flesh, church folks, non-church folks, whatever, want our way to be not me and her, want our way to be the right way. And we don't want to judge people from that point.
Right. That's exactly what I'm saying. I don't want to judge people from that, because I don't think that there's no right or wrong. I know that for me, I believe in God. But I also know when I was with you, maybe, I don't know necessarily, I could with the pans, maybe not, but I could be, what am I trying to say? You know what I'm trying to say? How the guy approached me and talked to me, assuming that I was Muslim, even though I wasn't.
Yeah,
but
I remember
I
that. Yeah.
don't ever want to come from a place whereas I'm discrediting
Yeah.
their beliefs because we
Yes.
don't believe in the same
Yeah.
God. Because
Yeah.
my God is my God, and I believe in him, but I can't tell you that yours isn't.
Yeah.
Because I've studied certain things and I've adapted that into my life. So I
Yeah.
never want to come to a place of my way is the right way. And I do feel like when it comes to a yin yang type of energy, we get that from each other. And when I say yin yang, I think of it just like the masculine and feminine stuff too, because you've taught me from doing this and certain things that we discussed. Like, so if your husband this, you know, and with every situation for the most part that we go through, I do try to learn something. I'm always reflecting,
Same,
especially on, you know, the podcast. And my outlet is the blogging about it because that helps me write. And then talking to you and texting that helps me to read and write. Because a lot of times the words, they be too much for me to process in that. And see, when I think of spirituality, I understand like your foundation is God and you go straight and it's just like, I trust God. But for me, I'm processing it like, am I doing enough for God? Am I deserving of what I'm asking for? What is my role as his disciple?
Yeah,
like, what is my role? What am I working for him? So my trust comes from, am I doing what I'm supposed to? And because of the way my brain works, I make it into a bigger thing than what you are. And for me, being spiritual and more eclectic, I have more rituals, consistent routines that I incorporate in my life, a part of my spirituality, which comes from other various backgrounds, like hoodoo and all of those different things. So,
and I don't have rituals.
Like you reach out. I'm gonna read my Bible,
but I don't think anything negative or weird about my friends' rituals. And I think that's where the non-judgment comes in, is that I don't think anything weird about anybody's rituals.
And people can go so crazy about it and make it demonic, but it's just like anything that you do repeatedly falls into a ritual. I'm getting my hair done every 2 weeks. This is my ritual. I'm going to church every Sunday. It's a ritual. I'm just incorporating more of that one day dedication into my life the whole week.
I don't. And
yes, I am. Yes, the light flash.
But what's funny about that is, even with your rituals that you do and that I may not do, we still, like I sent you the text this week, I said, we so different, but at the same time, we the same.
Yes.
Because like somebody else may see the light flash and not think anything. I immediately the flash,
like it's a confirmation.
It's a confirmation for us, and we both know. So that's where I am.
And you know what I want to say too? What, and a lot of this, and this is like me, like professional me. A lot of this, like on your journey, were just things that you experienced on your own. And you opened your eyes and just was like, found beauty in so many things, and I call it like a truth seeker. So you were seeking the truth in situations. Like, I know that just was no coincidence. That light just didn't blink. You know, because like I was telling you earlier, I have people reach out to me about these coincidences all the time.
And they be having questions.
And I'm just like, you need to set an appointment for us to talk about that. And when I say that, because I believe like sometimes it can get like a little like I'm scared of that.
I don't be having questions.
But the difference is, and I guess this is what I'm trying to say, like, people need to have that foundation. So just like say your foundation was church. I had some of that in me, but I had a little bit more because I had the church, I had the Lutheran school, and at one point going to the Catholic school. So I was open to a little bit more different things. But I feel like we all in our lives need additional counsel. So outside of the church, you get that person that you look at as part of your spiritual counselor. You get your medical doctors, you get your mental health therapists. I believe that we need all of those foundations, because what I'm saying is you didn't come to me specifically for certain things, but we still had a lot of conversations, whereas I revealed more to you about what it was, because you weren't never paying attention to no birds before.
Now I can't stop looking at them.
Yes. So it's certain things that even without me using a tarot or oracle card, that I know through my gift, like, oh, okay, she's seeing this more. We need to talk about it or whatever. It's same as like angel numbers. I get people texting me angel numbers all the time. If I don't have a connection with them, I'm just like, oh, okay, thanks for the picture. Like, not trying to be funny, but it's just like, okay, so do you want to know what that means? Schedule an appointment. It's difference between me and you, because so I feel like this is the tribe. So with your tribe, it acts a little differently. I know. So when you tell me, I've been seeing this all the time, and I'm like, oh, I've been seeing this too. So this is our intertwining on the path with our tribe. But when you have somebody that you just talk to and then just noticing it, it's just kind of like random information. So it's different. But I really believe that we all need that foundation, but we need people that we consider our council members.
Listen, I'm sorry, but when I first, had my spiritual awakening journey, I didn't realize, I was talking to you, but I had my one other friend, that I was talking to as well. And he used to always ask me, what are you doing to feed your spirit? What are you doing? I didn't realize until last week probably that he was actually discipling me through it.
Yes.
And now
that friend has been discipling you all along.
But now he don't ask me the same questions.
Yeah, because it changes.
Yeah, he used to ask me or suggest different things or send me stuff or just ask me what am I doing to feed my spirit. So now our conversation is different, where we're just kind of like me and you sharing what we reading and this and that. Just this week he asked me, are you gonna wait to get through the Old Testament to read the New Testament? Because I was like, you want me to rush to the New Testament? He's like, I just don't want it to be next year. We literally, our conversations is about the Word of God. And I realized now, I was like, oh, he was discipling me through this.
Typically that's how it is. It be those intertwining relationships that you didn't know.
I didn't even realize
that. It took me 7 years to reveal to you about empathy.
Yeah.
But that's how it is. But I believe that we all need that wise counsel. He's your wise counsel, and he comes in because of your same core.
Yes.
When you experience what you experience here in this living room, brought me in because I come from the spiritual core.
Yeah. And so, because I think that when I experienced what I experienced, he was one of the people I called. And just like the night in my car when I called you, both of y'all was just as calm. Like, I'm literally having a spiritual,
like it feels like a panic attack.
And I was
comfort, but you're like, what's going on?
I'm like, dude, I don't know what's going on. And he was just so calm, like, okay, yeah. And I was like, why are you not getting hype with me? What is wrong?
Yes, that made me think about when you saw the angel numbers. You was having a crisis that night, and you like, it's not moving. And I'm like,
You was just like, all right, girl.
It's like that's when I don't have. That's when I don't have the empathy. Yeah. That's when I'm like, okay, God giving you the signs, sis. So what we gonna eat? Like, let's move on. I always take it
you
to
was just like, all right, girl, I'm gonna pray for y'all. I'm call you back. I said, girl, I'm sitting telling you
that's exactly the flip flop. That right there. When I be wanting you to, and I be like, okay, girl, I've been seeing this all day long.
Yeah,
like
I just see so much beauty in my relationships, my friendships now that are like that, though. That, like you said, you have your rituals and spirituality. I believe I know what it means for you, and I believe you know what it means for me because of both of our foundations, and we respect each other's differences. Like I get clarity, so much clarity from our conversations, though. Like, I think because I was a church girl, that some things are just going to stay with me from my foundation. Like me saying, we gonna win this soul to Christ. Soul.
Yes.
And you was like, winning souls just sound like I'm taking the glory and not giving it to, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, I see it this way. I said, probably because I'm a church girl. And we went off.
And then I was just like, yeah, because that makes sense. It's the foundation.
It's the foundation.
So it's just like, and it didn't come from that place. You never looked at it like that until I said it. But that comes with having an open mind and open communication.
And that's what don't happen.
What people need to understand, I think, especially going through a spiritual journey, whatever you want to call it, getting closer to God, you have to have an open mind. You have to be open to learn from other people and see things differently, because God is going to work with you on an individual basis, but he always drops in the tools that you need.
Listen. My mind has been completely open to whatever is going to bring me closer to God and make me understand the path he wants me to go on.
Me too. What's going to make me closer? I do what I feel comfortable with.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And some people know things, some people don't. Yeah. I just do what I feel comfortable. Yeah. And then when it comes up, I'm led to speak on it or share. It's the know your. It's the know your audience. Listen. It's the know your audience thing. So it's just like, and I feel like that's what really initially led us to doing this podcast, for us discipling people outside of this, because we've both been in situations, and me outside of doing it like professionally, just from people that I know.
Yeah. I one of the things that I would, when we talk about having an open mind and everything, this week I was scrolling and I saw something about yoga is demonic.
Yes.
Okay. And I read it. I didn't have any opinion on it. I just read it and I was just like, that's interesting what the thought process they have. But what I've learned in the ministers that I've listened to, that one that I love is Joyce Meyer, who probably has some criticism. I don't know. She said something this week that was so clear to me, that it was like, you can worship God through doing anything, whether it's grocery shopping or cleaning your house or exercise, which is what yoga is supposed to be, meditation. And if you focusing on God and your meditation is on God, then it's not demonic. Now, what you use your different things for, whether the music you listen to or whatever, if you open up that portal to something else, that is you. But I was like, man, I am not going to judge people that do yoga.
I really think, and that's another thing with spirituality, like the basis of it is really just accepting whatever, so to speak, knowing that you are one with God and it's, you're divine. Because when I hear that, that makes me think of everything that I do that would be shunned by certain people, where it's just like, my intentions are always for me to get closer to God and me to follow his path and know that I'm listening to his voice and doing things that I say are spirit led to do, because that just comes with like a crystal, the angel number, the yoga, the me lighting the candle while I'm praying, like the tarot cards. So I struggle with talking about that. I use my tarot and oracle cards because of that. When I had to tell myself, number one, my mother is the one that introduced
I
me
remember that.
to
Yeah.
psychics. Number one. Number two, I've learned that I've said things that I have no clue on how I said it. I've never worshiped the devil in my life. We've all done devilish things and bad things, but a devil worshiper, I am not. So I know that this is not coming from God. And what I also know
Oh,
is,
wait, you said
I know it's not coming from the devil. Let me
Right.
be clear.
Yes.
Let me be clear.
Yes.
Thank you. I know it's coming from God, and nobody taught me. This was just something I picked up and started doing. And for the most part, it's been really real and good for me. Not even about doing for anybody else. When I do it for me, it's helped me through my grief. It's brought me closer. And every single day, everything I do with intention. When I drink my water, I'm drinking my water with intention. So
you drink your water with good intention towards God.
Yes.
I never thought about that. That's good. I like that.
I think about the fasting, and I think about how hard it is for me to fast. So even when I drink my water, I think about like not eating and so everything, little things that I do, a lot of my stuff comes from a place of God being at the top of my list. I agree with what she's saying.
Let me ask you this, because you said,
thank you for catching my words, because that's one thing about talking live, and then when my thoughts be jumbled,
a lot of times we don't correct because I know what you mean.
Yes.
But because of what we're talking about, I know
we gotta stand on it.
Stand on that we worship God, and the one true living God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yes.
Listen. But what I was going to say to you is, you talk about like your rituals and things and stuff that you do. And even before the change happened to me, I knew, and you had let me in on that. I was pretty much one of the only ones that knew, but I never thought anything, I just never said anything. I don't know. It just never.
And it also comes with the insecurity, because I don't think nobody's ever said anything to me directly, but being raised with the foundation of knowing the whispers and what's said about it, that still haunts me.
So let me ask you this is a question I want to ask you, even with because you still have certain insecurities about it, or getting away from that now. Even with that, we know that the people that that's in your circle, no matter if they whisper or not, they're always calling you for wisdom.
Yes.
They're always calling you and asking questions. So why do you feel
like I want to say 90% of my phone calls are for wisdom, but I did not realize my own value. It took God to do several things and to turn my world upside down in different areas for me to realize my value, and to realize that value also comes with growth. Like I said earlier off camera, when it was just like, the older you is not the same as the younger you. And this is why the grandmothers and us doing this for our legacy is so important. So this can be shared with whoever that it resonates, let alone just our generations forthcoming.
Yeah.
Because who I was yesterday, I'm not today.
Exactly.
When I had my meeting today, I was comfortable in telling her, like, I'm a spiritual reader. And at first, I kind of stumbled over my words, but I was just like, no, this is what you do. This is who you are. And I do it all the time without using a tool.
I think that that is where the question, concern, confusion may come from with the church people. I will say this because I grew up in a church and I always desired more. Like I knew that, and like you was talking about with the episode where I talk about the church a lot here, and I don't ever want to sound like I'm bashing the church, but I said to you before we started today, or before we started, that I feel like I believe, not I feel, I believe that we're missing the basic foundation of how to bring people to God. And if you go into the church, sometimes it's so much going on that we can lose that. And a lot of people who join from emotional excitement rather than knowledge of knowing who he is. And what's helped me in this last year and a half, and even when I was talking in just regular conversation, is I now know after however many years how to actually direct someone closer to God and not just invite them to church. And that's what you know how to do as well in a different,
because I do it from your inner soul. So I'm helping you heal something on the inside that he's trying to reveal to you. Like, I'm going to get you on that next level, but you got to figure out how to work on this, because once you work on this on yourself, it'll reflect on the outside. So
I'm gonna say this too. I remember in a church when I was younger, there were more spiritual people in the church, and the church people always looked at them as weird. Okay, you could tell that they knew something more, like they discern, they could feel
yes,
spirits,
when they
could
would
feel
prophesize
energies.
over
Yeah.
people, I have experienced
Yes.
that, and it's been like that's been real.
And they were always the ones that were talked about in my church, other churches growing up. They were the ones that were talked about because they would stand up and they could prophesy, and they could, they may act a little weirder. You know what I'm saying? And when I say weirder, I'm saying to our eyes, they was weirder in that, and during that time, like, something wrong. She's crazy. When it wasn't that. And now when I see those people, I'm like, that's what it was.
Yes,
I get it
and
now.
I think that's what you're saying is why I always like hid, so to speak, because of that. Like, it's weird or you crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because it'll be all the time like, that's crazy. Like, you believe that? And sometimes literally they mean that word in a literal sense. Mm-hmm. But I believe we need more of us. And when I say us, there's some people where your method will work better. And there's something that where mine will work. And then there's those who's getting both of us together, like right here in this podcast. Mm-hmm. And it's going to work too. Because, essentially, that's all it is trying to get closer to God, period.
I was watching something this week. It was a conference that went on in another state, and it was a real popular conference. And I don't even know if we talked about it, but they said had a lot of good nuggets on this conference. And I can't believe somebody ringing my doorbell while we're recording, but somebody's knocking on the door, and we don't just ignore it. But it was a lot of nuggets, and what I saw that I want us as believers to get away from, or I wish that we could get away from, is talking about other people, um, and how they what they do or how they do it. And they were saying a lot. It was a lot of going on. That's why y'all don't need to be listening to this. That's why y'all need to be listening to this person or these type of people. And I get that we have to, but in a room of 7,000 people, sometimes you have to do that. So I think because some people could get confused, like, well, I thought that preacher was good, so why are y'all talking about that? Because you know who they talking about,
right?
And we have to be careful to dog somebody else who may be getting help from that preacher, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got the Jamal Bryants and the William Murphys and all that, and the people are like, well, they this and they that. Somebody may be getting help from their ministry, and we can't say that they're not being helped. I can't say that somebody's not being helped from being counseled by my friend because she has rituals.
Right.
If the message is bringing that person to God, I'm going to use the word, I want her to win souls. I want her to win souls. I want the preachers to win souls. I don't want us to be on a stage to say, y'all need to stop listening to that's why, because they swag surfing in their church, and I think we need to get away from that. I think we need to get to the foundation of what God wants us to do. He wants us to love our neighbor. He wants us to, his first commandment was love. And that's not showing love when we up there saying, which is why you said, I don't want to be an ego.
Yes, I don't want to be an ego, and I don't want to judge exactly what you're saying. I always want to be an open mind because, again, doing this with you, and just everything, it's just like the opposite, but it's the same because the goal is what we're doing works for us to bring us closer to God.
Yes. And that's why so many different churches and so many different, because people choose where they're being helped. And if they getting help in the storefront church with the 10 people, then let them go there. And you wonder why you go to that little church. We have to get away from our judgment of how somebody is coming closer to God.
Period.
And I am not going, and I've been that person. So that's why I'm saying, like, now I'm like,
yes, I can say that because we talked about it on the other episode with me not growing up with consistent, like, this is my church home, this is what I do in the church. Your family has always welcomed me. Mm-hmm. Always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like I said, I've gone to, I visited some churches this last month, and I realized just like, my mind is in a different place now. I just want to have a clear message. I need clarity. I like, I don't enjoy a bunch of excitement anymore. And I don't see nothing wrong with it because I didn't see anything wrong when I went, but I'm like, it's just not for me.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
And I just show you, like, again, we change and we grow and we evolved, and certain things are just not for us. That part was never for me. Now I have a better understanding of it that we talked about.
Because I think you was even like, why the pastor got to do that?
And then once you explain the roots of it, and I'm big on the ancestors. Yes, I'm big on that. So that made me have a newfound appreciation. But again, I'm coming from a place, well, why this? Why that? Versus I just want to understand. Because now I'm smarter. I know a little bit more, okay?
Yeah, I was like, I think that there is a history. And then we did a little Google, and it was like, this is why the preachers hoop. Oh, okay, I understand now. Not that it's my cup of tea.
Or mine, but at least I knew where it originated from, and it took me out of that judgment and took it more as a reverence.
Yes.
I think that's the word.
Yeah. Like I can appreciate knowing the history behind it, and appreciate that they do it their way.
Yes.
And not dog their way.
Because again, the church home that I love, he does it.
Yeah,
but I still don't want to miss a message. I'm gonna have to go.
I know you gotta get in there.
I keep talking about it.
It's been a whole year you've been talking about this
I'm gonna
church. You're gonna have to go.
Step in and not just do the online.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go because you've been talking about this church for. But what's funny is, you know, you love that church, and your rituals are probably not accepted in that church if they knew like your rituals. And when we say rituals, people always think demonic. Gotta get away from that.
Yeah, in these purposes, we're just going to say lighting the candle when I pray, because I do that faithfully, and me flipping out a tarot card because I want to know. I mean, I got a spirit deck, and I'll be like, what you want to say to me today, Lord?
Wait, but one of my friends said to me was like, I feel like that is saying like God need help or assistance, and God does not need assistance when it comes to
and you know how I view it?
How?
I need assistance.
Okay.
You're not walking to work, you bought a car to assist you in getting work. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
I need assistance because all the time I'm a visual learner. So I can read the Bible, but I'm going to follow up and I'm going to see if it's a movie.
But it's also just
and
like
it's
references,
just opening books and references and all of that. So it's my tool.
Yeah. Just like the oil, we anoint the oil on the head.
So I definitely understand that, but it's for me. It brings me closer and I feel like I have a connection. And God allows that.
And that's the thing. Like
He allows that for me.
We have to no, we ain't gotta understand because whatever, but we just should not judge. And they say it's a thing as righteous judgment.
Yes.
And I get that. I understand that.
In my mind, again, I feel like when it's coming from anything you do with malicious intent.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line with that because sometimes you can assume somebody's being malicious when they're doing something and they just literally may not know any better. Yeah. But I think when it definitely comes from that devilish, demonic, I'm trying to hurt you, harmful, the shit that we know is bad, flat out, without that we all can sit in the room as a jury and be like, yes, that's bad.
That's bad.
That's when I feel like that. But if I'm doing any of those things and I'm not hurting anyone, I'm clearly not hurting myself because the Lord keep on blessing me and showing up for me.
That's why I be like, why you talking about that? Because you know the Lord goes show.
But I be like, because I need to sign, I need to talk it through so I can see something on my path. That's all I be wanting to do. I be wanting to see something on my path to give me confirmation. Do you know when I left my appointment today, I got in the car, the license plate, I believe it started with an 8, but it was 7-11. And so I was just like, thank you, Lord, for the confirmation, because that's what I need. You gonna rely and stand on your faith alone.
Well, I do other things too. I'm gonna say I don't have rituals like you.
But I don't mean like necessarily that, but I'm just saying like the sign helps me get through today. Like it helps me balance the mental thoughts and the stuff. Whereas I don't think you have to do as much personal coaching as I do. No. I have to do a lot of personal coaching. And I'm pretty sure that there's other people whose brain function like mine.
Yeah.
That they might need that extra personal hug.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. Yeah. I more recently tried to feed my, I don't watch TV anymore. My TV ain't been on in months. So, but
do you have a Netflix login? Because can I use it?
I do.
Say that you live at my house because I need Netflix.
If they'll let you use it, yeah. But my kids, Elijah used it in college, so I'm sure. I don't know if they're gonna let him go to that many different places.
It's not okay.
But I literally listen to messages now, ministries that give not so much excitement, where I can get a clear message on my daily living, like how to start your day, what to do throughout your day, how to just make you stay where you are and not sway from that. Like I've been feeding myself when I'm in a car. I plug in YouTube and I'll find a message and I'm just listening to, with scripture references, like, and I'm like, okay. And it just gives me more, strength to know, like, everything on, like, if I get in a financial bind, like, or sickness or whatever, I'm literally doing the work. Like when you said I wasn't empathetic, I literally start to do the work that I hear that I need to do for that to happen, for something to happen, for me to receive. I got to give.
Mm-hmm. Say it one more time. For you to receive.
For me to receive, if I want to receive money, I got to give. And I'm not doing it cheerfully. I can't do it just to get the blessing. My heart posture has to be right to do that. So this is the messages that I'm listening to all day. Like, what you want in your life, it's something you got to give for that to happen.
Mm-hmm.
If I want some type of relationship to be right, then I have to make myself right.
Yes. Change is required.
Change is required for everything. If you want something to happen positive, you can't just linger on the negative. So I listen to these type of messages all day, and I think that's what I had missed over the years. I know trust God. I know have faith in God. I know love God. I know,
and to me, I interpret that, and we're coming on a close, as like a moment of communing, strengthening your relationship. And like you say, all day, because I'm doing the same thing. I'm starting my day out with who I'm listening to, doing my own prayers and stuff. And then even a lot of things that I watch on TV, I'm searching to see what it's about, how it's going to feed me. Like, I don't really watch a lot of shows because it's trending and that's just the thing to watch. Like, in the first couple minutes, if I'm not going to take nothing away from this, I'm turning it off. I do have those moments where now I'm calling them wind down, because I feel like my hyperactive mind, I'm over.
Yeah, you need to wind down.
I need to wind down and rest. So sometimes I'll try and put on something else. But even when I do that, I'll be like, this is so stupid. It's making us look bad. Yeah. So I just have to sleep.
Yeah. You know what? But yeah, for real, I literally, like, what am I going to feed my brain today? Like, I don't see anything wrong with, like, you listen to hip hop and all that. And people probably be like, well, how can she listen to that? And it don't get in you to the point you look so deeper into the music and the words. I'll be like, girl, what are you talking about?
Everybody being hurt. I'll be like, she said, or he said, I can't believe that.
I'm like, girl,
I just on the beat.
Yeah, everybody else just listen to music, but you like these words. Let me write down these words. I'll be like, girl, I don't barely listen to music anymore. I just be in silence. Silence has helped me because I be on the go so much that my silent time is really in my car. And so that's when I do listen to something, I'm like, let me feed my brain something that's going to help me live better for God. And you do things, whether it's with your cause or ritual or what, that's going to help you live better for God. We all can do something different, but as long as we try to live better for God, that's the goal. And somebody gonna look at this and be like, she's still demonic. What? You're gonna have your opinion. I don't have my opinion about my friend or what she does. I don't. A lot of stuff she do, I believe in. I'm like, yep. Because I've seen I don't practice it, but I've seen.
But you've seen things happen in my life that justifies, like, it has to be God that did that.
Yeah, I be like, yeah, that's straight up God. My sister has witnessed some things now that we talk about, like, oh, so I just hope that out of this episode, people, because I feel like we talk about a lot. We're getting into the last days for real. Yes. And this is a time to not be playing. We want people to get their life right. I'm like, that's my main thing is, let me get my life right. Let me help my kids get their life right. Let me help everybody close to me get my life right. And if I meet a stranger, let me help them get their life right. Yes. Like, that's period. And we always judge we don't look at the journey somebody's taken. Like, if somebody used to come in church with a skirt too short or whatever, go tell them they got to go through the journey.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, if you're new with no foundation, coming in, walking in this building off the street, what's the game plan?
What's the game plan? What's the game plan? Because when they join and you take them back there for them 10 minutes,
they
that
kind
ain't
of
it.
back on their own.
Yeah, they back on their own. What is the game plan?
What's the game plan?
What is the plan to keep them in the will of God? Because they gonna have to make some changes. It's gonna be hard to make. It ain't hard for me no more.
It ain't hard for me either. It'd be so easy. I
Baby, listen. When I tell you, it don't be hard.
My reward be peace.
Yeah.
I find peace in places that I didn't even know I need peace in when I listen.
Yes. I do.
So I just go with it.
It ain't hard no more. But a lot of times it's hard because you're trying to please people.
Yeah.
And when you get out of policing people,
and sometimes it's the ones that's closest to you, or situation that's just uncomfortable that you just don't want to deal with.
Listen,
you want it to go away, but all it does is fester.
It ain't hard.
So now I just be like, yeah, whatever. But that was really a good message, and yeah, I do feel like it needs to be a game plan. We just need, I think, it needs to be more openness. Like if you need somebody to talk to, like if I'm walking in off the street, even if I'm going to my favorite church and I know the routine and I'm going to be this new person that they ain't seen years, what's the plan to make me feel welcome if I didn't know God like how I know God? We need wise counsels. We need wise counsels.
So find y'all some wise counsel. Somebody who has a relationship with God for real. I got a cousin, I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna be done. I got a cousin who she used to teach at Sunday school, and she used to be in her Bible during service, during the entertainment. She would be reading her Bible. And I would just be looking like, why is she reading her Bible? And but now I get it. And when my father had his stroke, she came to the hospital to see him. Now, I hadn't had no conversation with her, but before she left, we started talking, and she could feel the change in me. And she was just like, I can't believe this is where you are now. And I was trying to teach all this and Sunday, and we joke, but I can appreciate her love and education of us growing up, because I just thought she was like the mean Sunday school teacher. Not mean, but just she was
stern.
She was stern about
told you what you needed.
She wanted us to live right, and she
was trying to win y'all souls.
She was trying to win our souls, and even now she never wavered or people pleased. All these years, she never people pleased. It was just, I'm gonna do what God want me to do, and that's gonna be it. So I can appreciate
Thank you for that lesson.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do what God want me to do, and that's gonna be it.
And that's gonna be it. I'm gonna do what God want me to do. Only pleasing is gonna be to Him. So,
amen.
Listen, we thank y'all for watching. We thank y'all for. I hope somebody's encouraged by what we said today. I hope somebody is inspired by what we said. I hope somebody want to give their life to God and change their life, because really that's been the whole reason we started this. We talk about a lot of different things, but that's been the whole reason we started this podcast, is to let people listen. We some regular friends.
Yes, it's like whatever you want to do, start now, because a lot of times I had shared with you how I was just like, I want to give. What's my gift? What's my gift? Like, we have these gifts, these burning sensations. It's something, if you're revisiting, start it.
Yeah,
because this right here, like, again, if it's helping one person, wonderful.
Then we do.
But I know it's helping me.
Me too.
I know it's helping me. So I pray for it to reach millions and help everybody else. But I know right now, today, when I leave here, I'm leaving here trusting that I know that God is the head of my life, and I'm going to do what I feel like He's revealing to me that's pleasing in His eyes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And everything else is going to line, and I'm going to be on one accord with those who I'm supposed to be on one accord with.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I
got. We
got.
want y'all to like, listen, subscribe, share with a friend. Hey, start this conversation with y'all friends. You know what I mean? Start this conversation and see what your friends and family think about it. And, let us know in the comments. We'll see y'all next week.